Hello guys, my name is Dr. Varun and you are watching Chlorophyll classes only on YouTube. Back with a long form of video where we are trying to complete our NEET syllabus as well as board syllabus by the November. Well, today we're going to be starting a new chapter for our 12th class, that is evolution. Now, the major thing is that when we are opening our NCERT from the CBSE point of view, then evolution seems like a big hectic substance or a chapter to be completed or deal with. But in reality, it's not that hectic if it has been taught in the right way. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you the right sequence of learning it. So we have divided, or I have divided it personally into a different sequence than what it is given in NCERT. So let's just dive into it. First of all, what is evolution? If someone will basically asking me that how you will explain or sum up that what is evolution, the evolution is nothing. It is a slow continuous process and it's an irreversible process of the change. Means once it's happened, it won't be reversed. Either it can go in the progressive or the digressive way, but it will always be keep on happening. Okay, so don't think that once it has been done it can't be, like for example, if I have been changed into something else, it doesn't mean that I will be again able to change it in this generation. No, of course my the subsequent generation there could be a change. I'm really sorry for all the noises because Diwali is over here in the north and people are pretty much busting the crackers, children especially. So if we have to simply see that it is what it is, a unfolding or unrolling or unwinding the past. Okay, so evolution means unfolding or unrolling. Now, since everything we are seeing over here, and if we have to put the magnification line, then we will see that on the simple questions that will come up means that okay, we are the humans. Before humans, who were there? We say that we came from the apes. Okay, before apes, what were there? We said that we are coming from some other organism. Before that, how the first organism came? That is a major question, right? And how that first organism is even able to survive, how this surrounding came. Means for example, that first all the material should be there, then only the organism will come and live on this all the resources, and how that organism is able to get the food. So means how the food came on this planet earth, and how this planet earth came, how does everything started from. So we say a classical theory for it, and that is what that is called as the Big Bang theory. Not the series, we are talking about the real Big Bang. But before to start with it, certain things that we have to keep in our mind. That is that evolution is a slow, continuous, irreversible process of change. And that way study of universe will come into play, because eventually how the universe comes. Okay, so we traces it back to the universe. So study of universe is known as cosmology. Study of origin of units, that is cosmogeny. Okay, then study of origin of universe is called as cosmogeny. Moving on, then there is what these planets evolution, how they are being evolving, what happened to them. If someone want to study that, that would be the stellar evolution. Okay, so when planet and star change in between their birth to death, that is termed as what? Stellar evolution. And the next thing would be what? That how the matter, means all this material, hydrogen, gases, matter, antimatter, these terms you might have studied. If you want to study about their evolution, that what is happening and how the new compounds or the elements are being formed, that is known as inorganic evolution. When the matter, elements change in time, that is known as inorganic evolution. And the third is when the organism change its form, it is called as biological or the organic evolution. Means humans, how the humans are evolving, we call it biological evolution. Okay, so when change are in organisms over course of generations, it will be termed as organic / biological evolution. This is the basic thing. Now I told you how the origin of universe occur, and that's the major story, and that is come up with this thing, that is the origin of universe story. Now when we are studying about the origin of universe story, the Big Bang theory is what has caught our attention. So what scientists say, so it's a story time. So in this story time we will be doing what? We will be studying. So imagine that there is nothing, absolutely nothing, pitch darkness. Okay, at that point of a time there was like a big thermonuclear explosion occur, and when the nuclear reaction is there, means what? It will keep on forming what? New substances. Okay, so here what happened, this is where there was everything starting from the singularity, means 0 point, everything was in the point, and in that point the explosion happens within itself, and that explosion is being shown it over here. So this explosion did what? It begins the time, and from here what happened, this explosion was so big that no one can even imagine it in the terms, or the calculate in the terms of the imagination itself. And this whole thing that is happened is called as what? It called as cosmos. Okay, now due to explosion, what happened? This whole thing expand, and we call it what? Universe expanded. So it start expanding, going far off, okay, away from each other. Because of what? Because of the physics, that if something explosion happens, everything will go with opposite due to momentum, right? Now slowly what happened, they develops the entities like electrons, neutrons, proton, quarks, which you might have studied in the electrostats chapter of your physics. What are they? Now even the chemistry also. So now as all these elements were there, they comes together and initially forms what? Hydrogen and the helium. These, first the nucleus has been formed because of the protons and the neutrons coming together, and later on what happened, proper the electrons start evolving and forming the atoms. So initially these gases were formed, and you know what, all of this thing has happened in just 1 second of the time frame. So means look that so fast. If you simultaneously, okay, like that, this is the second, within the 1 second is over, what happened? Your nucleus about to start, and in the 3 minutes what happened, your nucleus, like the hydrogen, like slowly the gases that has to be forming, that has been formed. And you know what, the temperature, it's keep on decreasing over here. So if you see over here, the temperature at this point was not even measurable, but over here the temperature is look so high, 10 raised to power 27 degrees Celsius, so much. 100 degree you can't even touch. Think about that. This is 10 raised to power 26 degree, 100 raised to power 26 degrees Celsius temperature at the 1 second moment. So before the 1 second moment even, okay, this is not a 1 second even, and then it rapidly going down, then this is not this high, it becomes lighter, and as it goes completely lighter. So how we will remember it? Just think that you might have seen how the Dashera has been celebrated. If you have seen, there is immense heat, but after a certain point of time, the heat is dissipated everywhere. And what happened, as it goes further away, the temperatures reduces. Okay, after a certain period of a time, the explosion. Same thing. Imagine it like that. So the time, as the time is moving, what happened? The temperature is also cooling down. Okay, and finally the temperature, the lowest is minus 270 degree Celsius, which has been where the galaxies are being formed at present rate. So this thing has been formed. Now what happened? These helium and all those things later on form what? Proto galaxy, means the initial primitive galaxies, and finally the current day galaxies by the 15 billion years ago. I hope this whole thing has been written as the that 11 billion years ago or 14 billion years ago that happened. The galaxies has been formed, and this is all about the origin of universe. And then we're going to see that one such galaxy where our planet Earth is present. Let's just write about these basic terms which we have seen over here. Origin of universe. Big Bang theory. Let's see that what this theory is saying. Given by or proposed by Abbe Lamartine. So what it says? It says that universe formation took place about 20 billion years ago. Universe origin took place about 20 billion years ago, and it is originated by a big bang. By a big bang, that is what? Nothing but a thermonuclear explosion of dense entity called cosmos. So dense that it appears like a singularities. Okay, we call it singularity. Now due to explosion, universe expanded, and the temperature came down or cooled down. Temperature came down. Slowly, hydrogen and helium gases are formed, which condensed means which came together due to gravitational force, because you know that the gravitational force will occur if the mass is there, means between me and you also, between me and this iPad also, the gravitational force is working. Clear? Of course it's not attracting because of the small mass entity. It is more pronounced to see in the big mass entities. Okay, this you might have studied in the gravitation. If not, then go back and understand this concept. It's very interesting and linking everything together. Okay, formed, which condensed due to gravitational forces present in the surrounding. All this results in formation of billions of galaxies. So we have just reduced it out. There was a lot of things also there, but we just reduced it as concise as possible for you at your level. Now the next thing is origin of solar system. So let's just make a diagram, get a diagram. Oh, origin of solar system. Let's just see this. Okay. Now, if you will see over here, so what happened? Initially, there is what there it is was like a nebular hypothesis. What is nebular hypothesis? It states that our solar system originated around 4.5 billion years ago. What has happened over here? You know that initially what a big bang is being done. Okay, at that big bang, what happened? There is a formation of a condensed mass. Okay, and that condensed mass which is being formed by the big bang. Okay, so means what is the condensed mass? Nothing. The hydrogen and the helium that came together, they comes together and condensed. As they comes together and condensed and forms what? It forms what? A kind of a cloudy thing. Okay, now in this cloudy thing there is what? Gases also, dust also, everything is there present over here. So at this point everything just come together and collapsed in its structure and form what? A gas giant. That gas giant is what it is. What it is? Nothing but a highly reactions, like thermal reactions were taking place in this, like fusion reactions were taking place over here. And this is what? A very hot, bright, burning because of the hydrogen and the helium gases that were being present over it. Now what happened? It is spinning around at a high rate, and this spinning do what? It release some of the part of it outside, and that part gases of dust and the cloud of dust and gases which came out from that center part, it start revolving around the center part because of its high gravitational forces. As this thing is being keep on condensing, this form what? A primitive sun, and the things that forming like the gases masses that is revolving around also condensed and forms what? The forms the planets. So the present day planets are being formed like this. So this thing is has been told to you in this diagram also. Let's just try to remember it by writing it as well. Okay, so starting with it is what? It is was given with the help of what? A nebular hypothesis. Nebular hypothesis explained origin of solar system. And who gave this? Kant. Now in this hypothesis it says that solar system originated around 4.5 billion years ago. according to the nebular hypothesis, the Big Bang explosion forms numerous pieces of clouds of dust and gas called nebula. So everyone understood what is nebula? Now, our solar system is formed by one such nebula, okay, and one such forms solar system. So the central mass condensed into the primitive sun. Central mass of nebula condensed to form primitive sun. Okay, now the next thing is, due to this rotational movement of the nebula, rings of the clouds get detached from it. Okay, due to rotational movements of nebula, rings of cloud got separated, keeps on spinning around it under the gravitational force, keeps on spinning around the central mass, and later condensed to form planets, including Earth. So this we have written it up also in the written form. Now, if the Earth is being formed, and we said that it is what gaseous cloud, and one such gaseous cloud will be Earth. Now, how that gas to this rocky surface on which we can stand is being formed? So it is what evolution of Earth, where we would be studying about. Okay, so the next point is origin of Earth. Okay, the next is origin of Earth. It took place at 4.5 billion years ago only, when the Earth cloud is being taken out from the nebula, primitive sun. Okay, so origin of Earth took place about 4.5 billion years ago, and initially the Earth is what? Nothing but a spinning ball of hot gas. Okay, initially Earth was a spinning ball of hot gases and vapors of different kinds of elements, and gradually over the 100 million years these gases condenses and formed what? Solid core of the metals, because of the new atoms that is being formed, and according to their density they forms what? Different layers on the Earth, and finally that the crust has been formed. Okay, so what happened? These gases were keep on forming the other elements and atoms, and they get condensed according to their density, forms the molten mass in the center of the higher density elements like cobalt, nickel, iron, and the lighter elements were present towards the outer surface of the earth. Okay, so gradually through 100 million years, these gases condensed to form molten solid core and various elements got stratified. Stratified means layered. Okay, got stratified according to their density. Now over here we have to remember what the earth layer would be made up of a different things. So for example, the heaviest one, okay, this look little oval. Okay, so this one will be what? This is the core, okay, or the inner core, which is solid. So this is what? Inner core, that is solid. Now around it is what? Your molten mass is present. Okay, so around it what? A molten mass is present. Wait. What is this? So around it, this thing is present. So I'm going to be making it like this. And this is what? This is the outer core. Okay. So this is outer core and it is molten. Okay. So semi-solid. So it is semi-solid. And because of this thing only, it's keep on moving here and there. The earth is also spinning. Okay. Moving on to the next one. Then we have what? Then we have the mantle. So like this, we have what? We have mantle present. So this is what? Mantle. And outer to the mantle is what? Our green layer present. That is called as what? That is, we called our what? Our crust. So this is our final, that is crust. So this is crust on which we are sustaining ourselves. So where would be the heavy metal present? In the center. Lighter metal towards the surface. Okay. So this is only we're going to be writing it over here. Heavy metals like iron, nickel sank to center and form the solid core, whereas lighter metals like aluminium, silica rose to surface and solidify, forming the crust. Okay, solidify and forms the crust. And in between there are certain metals, like metal has what? It has magnesium, it has iron silicates, okay, silicates, etc. So this is present in the mental point also. Now, and the lightest most elements, they come to the surface and flown away also. Okay, so and lighter elements or the lightest elements like helium, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen flowed away from the surface into atmosphere. So this is how the earth basic geography has been made. Now soon what happened, now still it's a spinning mass, and it all of these things, like only 100 million years happened, the temperature is not going that fast down. Okay, the temperature is still up, but this temperature keep on getting little slow, and this molten substance keeps on getting solidified. Okay, so there are certain liquids which turns into solid also, okay, over the period of a time. And later on, what the streams of water is also able to take place, because the water can sustain on the temperature. Because if it is 100 degree of boiling water, then what happens, that as the water come on the surface, it will evaporate again. But the rain starts happening, and the rain actually help in condensing the or reducing the temperature. Okay, so of course water reduces the temperature. We have even seen that when it's too hot and suddenly it's rain, what happened, temperature cools down. Think about that situation. At that time also water vapors were there, they fell and they reduced the temperature slowly. Instantly they can't do it. Okay, so we're going to be having that as earth cooled down, gradually some gases condensed into liquid, and some liquid into solid. Moving on, stream condensed means what, vapors condensed into water and resulted in rains. Rain droplets which reached superheated earth crust evaporate immediately. Okay, evaporate immediately. And this cycle occurs for next millions of years. Okay, and that only resulted in the cooling of the earth's surface. And earth's surface, when it cool enough, it holds the water, and the large water body that is being formed at that time is what is the oceans, which came into existence. Okay, so this cycle continued for millions of years and resulting in cooling of earth surface. Now it can hold water, and large water bodies in form of oceans came into existence? As we have already talked about the surface, what about the atmosphere of the earth? We said that certain gases came or were present, the lighter gases, but they were so lighter that they flew away in the atmosphere, in the space. Okay, so we don't have any gas available in the atmosphere. But what is happening strange is that there are a lot of active volcanoes at that time, and those volcanoes were releasing what, a lot of molten mass and the gases. You know that like volcanoes always releases certain toxic gases. So what gases they were releasing? They were releasing methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide, and water vapors. Now, what, since the UV rays were coming, we don't have any protection from the UV rays. The UV rays, as it comes on these molecules, it break these molecules. They first of all break the water molecules, and they break it into what, hydrogen and the oxygen. Hydrogen being lighter, it flew away. Okay, or if it is not flew away, it goes and attaches with certain other elements which are more reactive to it. So, and the oxygen also similarly go and react with the what, with the other substances which are present. Normally there was abundance of hydrogen, and this hydrogen goes and, like this hydrogen that is being formed, it is what, it is going and getting attached to what, it is getting attached to the nitrogen, and this nitrogen forms what, ammonia. It going and attaching with the carbon, forming the methane, and going and attaching with the oxygen which is being formed and forming water simultaneously. And so the primitive environment do not have free oxygen, because all the oxygen is making bond with what, hydrogen to form the water. And similarly there are what, if not, the oxygen is making bond with the carbon as a carbon dioxide, carbon monoxides, or the metallic oxides formations, which we have even studied in the 9th-10th class, that oxygen reaction with this will forming the metal oxides and all those things. So we came to know that at that primitive environment, it was anoxygenic, means no oxygen was present, and if any life form might have occurred at that point of a time, it would be what, it will not be getting degraded, because for the degradation oxygen is very vital process. So, and simultaneously in the environment, since there are no free oxygen, means the oxygen won't be able to make the bond with the ozone. So I hope that you know that how the ozone layer is being formed from the chapter R, environment, from 10th class, that single nascent oxygen joins with the oxygen L molecule O2 and forming O3. But at that time this thing is not possible, because the free oxygen was not available in the environment. It readily goes and joins with the other atoms or the elements. So UV rays are directly coming. That's why the question is that how the UV rays was coming in the atmosphere, because ozone layer is not present at that time, and that's why this reaction was happening like that. Let's just write about it. So gaseous envelope or atmosphere was not present in early earth or on early earth due to volcanic eruptions, molten mass was released, which slowly covered Earth's surface of Earth. Then from these molten masses, various gases are released in surroundings like methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide, and water vapors. UV rays from the sun reaching earth acted upon water vapors and break it into what? Hydrogen and oxygen. On water vapors and break it into H2 and O2. Right? So what happened? Abundance of hydrogen reacts with nitrogen and it forms what? Ammonia. Reacts with the same thing, reacts with carbon and forms what? Methane. And reacts with oxygen, if ever that is present, reacts with oxygen and forms what? Water. But the water is again and again getting what? Destroy. Okay. So what is happening? Absence of oxygen. Because whatever the oxygen is present, that will be what? It will be present in the form of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, or the metallic oxides. Okay. So bound with carbon and metal to form carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and metallic oxide. So primitive environment is what? Primitive environment is anoxygenic. Okay. And absence of ozone layer also do what? Because free oxygen is not present, no ozone layer. So UV rays easily come and do this thing. With this, the primitive earth we understood. Now the question is that, okay, the earth is like this, environment is like this, no oxygen is present, free oxygen is not present, carbon dioxide and all of these things are present, means it looks something like the Mars. Yes, it looks something like the Mars, and we always say that we have to terraform the Mars, and that forms the story for the next class or this chapter. So till now we are able to make earth, we are able to give some like an oxygenic environment. How we will come up with the oxygen is the quest which will be done in the next video that will be coming up tomorrow for sure. And that's all for this video. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends. And I know that you won't understand the evolution anywhere else except at the chlorophyll classes, because we try to make you fall in love with it. If you didn't understood this thing, let me know in the comment section. I will come up with a very interesting reel for it. That's all for this video, and over and out. Thank you.